Could a human marathon runner actually beat a horse in a race? I mean, a full 42-kilometer marathon. It sounds like a bit of a joke, right? The kind of thing you'd argue about with your friends, but never actually see happen. Well, today, we're not just going to ask the question. We are going to answer it. And we're going to use hard data, a little bit of science, and the results from a real kind of crazy race that puts this whole idea to the test.
Okay, so let's get right into it. In one corner, you've got an elite human athlete. I mean, a total marvel of endurance. And in the other, a horse, a creature that is literally built for speed and power. You put them head-to-head over a marathon distance. Who crosses that finish line first?
You know, this isn't just some fun thought experiment. This whole thing actually started back in 1980 in a pub in Wales. Yeah, really. After a few drinks, a local landlord made a bet. He claimed that if the course was long enough and tough enough, a human could absolutely beat a horse. And it didn't just end there. That pub debate actually spawned a real race, the annual man versus horse marathon. And let me tell you, it's a brutal, grueling race over the Welsh mountains.
Now, if you just look at the raw numbers, this shouldn't even be a contest. I mean, look at this tail of the tape. Horse can sprint at nearly double the speed of the fastest human on Earth. Its aerobic capacity, that's the VO2 max you see there, basically how well its engine uses oxygen, is just off the charts compared to ours. And the 100-mile world record, a horse can do it in almost half the time. So based on pure physiology, the science is crystal clear. The horse should win every single time. And, for a really long time, that's exactly how it played out. For 24 straight years in this crazy Welsh race, it didn't matter how fit the runner was, the first one to cross that finish line always had 4 legs. It really seemed like that pub debate was settled for good.
But then, 2004 happened. On a particularly hot day, a runner named Hugh Lobb did what everyone thought was impossible. He didn't just keep up, he won. He beat the fastest horse by 2 full minutes, winning a cash prize that had been growing for a quarter of a century. And just like that, the question wasn't if a human could win anymore. The real question became, how? How on earth was that possible?
Well, the answer, it turns out, isn't in our muscles, and it's not even in our lungs. It's in our skin. The human body has this incredible secret weapon, a biological superpower that only really shows up when the going gets tough and, more importantly, when the going gets hot.
And that superpower is called thermoregulation. It's just a fancy word for our body's ability to manage heat. See, running generates an insane amount of internal heat. If you can't get rid of it efficiently, your body has to slam on the brakes to keep you from literally cooking from the inside out. And it's right here, in this cooling mechanism, that the entire race gets turned on its head.
So how does it work? Well, both humans and horses sweat to cool down, but how we do it is worlds apart. Human sweat is amazingly efficient. About half of it evaporates right off our mostly hairless skin, which pulls a ton of heat away from our bodies. A horse's sweat, on the other hand, well, it's a different story. It's way less effective.
Get this, for a horse, almost 3/4 of its sweat just drips right off its coat and onto the ground. It's a huge waste of water and crucial minerals, and it does next to nothing to actually cool the animal down. It's like trying to run a race in a car that's constantly on the verge of overheating. Sooner or later, you just have to slow down. Okay, so we've got this amazing cooling advantage. But here's the catch. It only becomes a race-winning advantage when the conditions are just right. It's not just about who's running the race. It's about the racetrack itself, and maybe most importantly, the thermometer.
And this chart right here pretty much tells the whole story. What you're seeing is that for every single degree Celsius the temperature goes up, horses slow down way more than humans do. In fact, their performance gets worse by about 36% more than ours. So as the day gets hotter, that massive physical advantage the horse has, it just starts to melt away.
But it's not just the heat. The terrain plays a huge role too. On steep downhills, we can let gravity do the work and pick up speed. A horse, though, has to carefully brake to protect its front legs from injury. In muddy, tricky sections, our 2-legged agility is a massive advantage. And then there's the big one, our brains. We can actually think strategically, pace ourselves, manage our thermal budget, and run a smart race in a way a horse just can't.
So let's bring this all home. Where does that leave us? Could a marathon runner beat a horse? Well, the answer is a very clear, it depends. It all comes down to the specific conditions of the race. Let's break it down into 3 simple scenarios.
First up, imagine a flat city marathon on a nice, cool day. In this situation, the horse's raw power is totally unleashed. Our fancy cooling system doesn't matter at all.
The horse wins, and honestly, it's not even a competition.
Now, scenario 2. The actual race in Wales. It's warm, the ground is uneven, the hills are steep. This combination of heat and terrain is the great equalizer. The horse is forced to slow down, its speed advantage is neutralized by the hills, and all of a sudden, you've got a real, honest-to-goodness race on your hands. One where an elite human has a very real shot at winning.
And finally, scenario 3. Picture a grueling ultramarathon in the blistering desert heat. In this environment, the tables aren't just turned, they're completely flipped over. A horse trying to keep a competitive pace would be in serious danger of collapsing from heat stroke. But the human, with our incredible built-in radiator, we become the undisputed endurance champions.
So it turns out, our ability to go toe-to-toe with an animal as powerful as a horse isn't just about physical strength. It's this amazing combination of a unique evolutionary trick for staying cool and the strategic mind that knows exactly how and when to use it. Which kind of leaves us with one last big question to think about. In the long run, what really makes us the planet's ultimate endurance athlete? Is it the power of our engine, or is it the intelligence of our design?